First of all, Kim, I would like to first and foremost congratulate you and express how proud I am of your complete vulnerability and your strength in expressing your honest, completely honest trials and tribulations with me. I know that is not easy, and that is also stepping out of your comfort zone because, as you mentioned before, it's not something you're used to, and touching on that from your past experiences of expressing your truth and your experiences to people you definitely should have been able to confide in and have the emotional support there be provided to you from your mom, the first instance of your abuse being your sexual abuse that you incurred from your uncle. And when expressing your truth to your mom and she emotionally neglecting you and just deflecting and not accepting your truth at all, and then punishing you for something you should not have been punished for, something if she was emotionally intelligent enough could have, and also just other things. And I would say, since you gave me your birthday, I was able to look at your chart briefly, and we can look at our birth charts and can see, and it can help us answer some of these questions from our past, especially of instances where we could rack our brain all day and not come up with the solution or answer to why our parents wasn't there for us in certain instances or in certain ways, emotionally, physically, and whatever the case may be at times. And our charts can reflect and give us better clarity on possible reasons of why. And also looking at our own parents' charts can really get into more clarification on what makes them tick, why they are the way they are, and why they handle certain situations neglectfully or better than others parents may have, or their own parents. So so from what you spoke on, from what you shared with me, it's it's very apparent to me that since, and possibly even before that instance, that your mom shut you down and ignored your truth, that you have had this ongoing struggle with communication. And it denotes to me a throat chakra, I want to say blockage, but definitely a throat chakra imbalance has been reoccurring since you were a little girl. And chakras are these chakra from Sanskrit, in the ancient language, translates basically to wheels or discs. So I like to think of them as vortexes or energy centers within our bodies, within our hands, everywhere, up and along your spine, that where energetically we can experience these blockages or physical ailments start from. It starts from this, I'm going to say metaphysical, but basically spiritually, these energy centers where your body's energy meridian lines connect, and basically um chakras are, and then you've probably heard about like the main 7 chakras that have become pretty trendy nowadays, um and they focus on the ones along the spine, your root all the way to your crown chakra. Your root chakra is at the base of your spine. Your sacral chakra is where your womb, below your navel, a few inches below your navel resides. And a few inches above that is your sacral chakra, the 3rd chakra. Your solar plexus chakra, dealing with where some people say your soul resides. Or some people believe. And then your 4th chakra is your heart chakra. And, in the middle of your chest and lungs. And then going up, your 5th chakra is your throat chakra. And that your experience with speaking up repeatedly, you went and expressed, confided in your friend what happened to you, or I wouldn't even call her a friend, but you confided with who you thought was your friend when you were young about the incident with your uncle, and she just laughed at you. I don't know. I ain't judging, but I don't know what's up with her. I don't know who does that. I've never heard of that. Shouldn't say never heard of that. But like, that's my first time really hearing that someone other than a family member denying the predatory behavior or inappropriate behavior of their own flesh and blood, just laughing at someone's trauma. But from her and then on to your first husband relationship, whenever you spoke up, him hitting you for it, especially in your mouth, and then you actually losing teeth because of it. It's, as I said before, it's very apparent that, along with up into your recent dentist appointment, and then pointing out that your throat is swollen, that is prime indication of a throat chakra imbalance, and that your throat chakra needs your attention now. With that being said, the energy behind the number 3, it's your 3-year-old twin boys, that all this is happening right now in your life. 3 energetically represents communication, and like Gemini is the 3rd sign in the zodiac signs. And you had twin boys, so like Gemini twins, like it's giving communication is very important in your life. specifically. And when I was able to look into your birth chart, I noticed that your Chiron is in Taurus in the second house, and yes, it's in Taurus in the eighth house. I'm sorry. So relationships, I would say that reflects your first marriage being very imbalanced, being in it you in the most of that imbalance being from whatever he had to go on with himself, but also mainly dealing and revolving around communication, really lack thereof. You not being in a safe space to even communicate and still be safe after communicating. Whether you actually did fully express your truth to him, and then, you know, he got physical and violent, or you were trying to, and then he already was popping off. So I would tie that. I can see how this all ties back from your main, I would say your main, I don't want to say struggle, but you do have this reoccurring battle with communication and imbalance in your life, stimulating from lack of communication, of expressing your truth and being secured in yourself enough to do so. And really, I wasn't going to touch on the Chiron at first. I was going to note your North Node. I noticed your North Node is in Libra. And in case you're not familiar with it, your North Node depicts basically like your destiny, this lifetime, where you're headed in life, what you're kind of mostly supposed to be aimed and focused on in this life, and then succeed in, I would say, on a positive note, like what you're inevitably going to accomplish in this lifetime is going to be all around and based on your balancing your relationships is every energetic exchange. In my opinion, it's like your relationship with yourself, and your relationship with yourself is the most important relationship in the world, because I know I'm not a mother myself, but I know from mothers' experiences, opinions, and how they live their lives and their perspectives. A lot of times it seems, well, parents, mothers, and fathers, a lot of times it's putting their children first. It's my children come first before everything. It's this narrative of you, in order to be a great parent, have to prioritize your children over yourself. But it's not that that's not a good percep- percep- perspective to look at parenting and good parenting, but it's illogical to the extent where you cannot, in my opinion, give from an empty cup. So that ties into your constant battle with imbalances. Your Chiron and Taurus, the Chiron is a comet that is basically stuck in our solar system's orbit. It has its own shaped orbit around our sun, and like the rest of, like, our planets. Our planets have a fixed circular round orbit But Chiron is chaotic in its orbit, switches up, but it's fixed within our solar system, like you would say planets are. So Chiron depicts the wounded healer. So it being in it depicts, and by wounded healer, it's depicting your main trauma. So looking at Chiron can show you and give clarity on what your main trauma you struggled with or endured through your life. Like what most of your trials and tribulations are going to reflect. And it being in Taurus, Taurus is the nurturer, but in particular to dealing with Chiron in Taurus, it is the wounded protector, as it's called or referred to. So this feeling of unworthiness, and I would say, as you expressed earlier, can go all the way back to, if not even further than the first instance of, well, your innocence being defiled and your mother neglecting the significance of your truth and what happened to you. And then this spiraling, this spiraling snowball effect occurring afterwards of this unworthiness from your sacral chakra, your womb being, I don't want to say damaged, but these blockages, quote unquote, occurring and stimulating ever since that initial trauma. So unworthiness can be easily developed. Anything dealing with molestation or rape, any sexual abuse, sexual harassment, it's this anyone imposing upon your boundaries and feeling either inadequate or not strong enough, or not, simply being so young that you just don't even know how in the moment, and so caught off guard on how to defend your boundaries as a child. And it still happens to grown folks today. Like it can eat at you, and then you can go into a spiral of self-blaming from something you could have never known, because who's usually children are told to tell their parents, especially, or whoever their guardians may be, to express to them whenever someone gives them a bad touches them in the wrong way. And so, and that usually stops there, or like, don't talk to strangers and other things that most children hear growing up. But it's not, don't touch the strangers, and if a stranger's try to kick, and depending on your parents, but usually it's uncommon for them to tell you to, I don't know, kick them in the balls, like, if they even got balls. Like if a woman's trying to kidnap you, strangers trying to talk to you, like it's usually not telling the child to resort to violence or self-defense in a physical means. And so children are usually just taught to go and express yourself, to those who are relevant and those who are supposed to be your protectors and provide safe space for you, and not neglect when someone is inappropriately doing things to their child. So I feel it is very easy for senses of unworthiness, of feeling insecure, feeling unsafe around men, your own flesh and blood, um, in particular because it was your uncle, a male, um, who did it, and also feeling unsafe and uncomfortable to express or ever confide again in your mother. Um, like your truth isn't worth telling. And I feel like that's why your chart heavily reflects and also your life. Um, like, you know, as I said previously, your 3-year-old twin boys, I'm hearing communication, communication. And as I'm sure you probably heard before, communication is key. It really is. If we don't talk about things, I don't know if you've ever tried therapy or heard from other people that have been in therapy or from just learning or maybe even psychology classes or whatnot in school, that talking about things is the only way through getting the only way you can get through them. And grudges build up, and in a sense, grudges and resentment are forms of trauma or signs of trauma, unresolved traumas. So I hope that makes sense. So when you were expressing that you can feel like your husband gets upset with you for you right now, your defense mechanisms or how you deal with your day-to-day getting reprimanded at work for losing focus and having bad days and feeling like you possibly are failing your children, you go to your bedroom, close your door, and you lay in bed for hours. I would like to ask if you've ever attempted to communicate any of these traumas you've experienced, like to your husband. Does your husband know about your first husband? How much does he know? How much have you felt comfortable to share? Have you felt comfortable to share almost any of these deep, dark instances from your past that, and I would say, I'm asking that because it seems like you have wall up, and usually that means when things get hard or emotionally exhausting, when you're most triggered, you're not expressing it. And your husband seems loving. You feel like you know he's loving and you love him because of how loving he is. And it just seems like he's just concerned, and he should, as a loving husband, should be able to provide a safe space for you to confide in him as you are with me. And I know it's going to take courage, and possibly more courage than, not possibly, but I would say it will definitely take more courage than you have provided already tonight with me to confide to him open and honestly about all these things that have been going on and making you feel suicidal, because he's your he should be your ride or die. He should be your main person for advice. The imbalance from you being the friend that provides a good listening ear, but whenever you're confiding and expressing to your friends, they're not reciprocating that back. Another instance of an imbalanced relationship that you have. Um, like he should be your best friend. You should be able to feel like you can express any and everything, your wildest dreams, your wildest daydreams, your goals, ambitions, everything, your deepest, darkest secrets, everything. And he should not judge you, because if he loves you, then he should love all of you. And if ever that's an issue, I'm not saying like go be impulsive or nothing, but I mean, that's something that you'll probably want to work through first with sharing kids. And there's so many factors of the outside world that would lead to women who weren't as strong enough as you to leave an abusive relationship, especially, I mean, physically or emotionally. There's still pretty messed up dynamics, and that, you know, really messes up our mental health and affects our mental health. So I say that to say, like, you've already gathered the strength to establish boundaries when it came to your first husband. So don't ever fall back into this idea of not being good enough to be unapologetically yourself, and that you have to live in a bubble to make everyone happy, because that's not what makes everyone happy. As we see, it's not what makes you happy, and then the people that want to see you happy can't be happy fully because you're not happy, and then there's this unhappy home. And so it's this chain reaction if you don't give from a full cup. And I would like to suggest some ways that you can work on healing, um, especially your throat chakra imbalance, but I would say in your sacral chakra imbalance is from these the abuse occurred in intimate situations, which would lead to your heart chakra, because in heart chakra imbalances, because what can close off our hearts are our loved ones, people we come into this world being taught are supposed to love us, which is heavy in this society, that your blood thicker than water, all the sayings and stuff about the creating this narrative and perpetuating this narrative of your family is supposed to be the main ride or dies and the main support system built in to your bloodline. So, and then, you know, when we're hurt and traumatized, or betrayed by those people, it really hurts our heart. It can impact one's heart chakra more than a stranger or a friend or a fake friend or your best friend, just someone outside your home. Like, that's how our mentalities tend to adapt to these societal narratives, especially in America. So your root chakra has also been affected because of dealing with that. Like, it deals with your security, your stability, your safety, your senses of safety, stability, and security, and survival's instincts. and it has been thrown off ever since these people that has been the people and roles that the people in your family play and have played in perpetuating that narrative, as I mentioned, of built-in secure safe support systems that a family should be ideally. But yes, so I would like to give you advice on how to work on your root, your sacral, your solar plexus, because your solar plexus ties into this as well. The ability to speak freely, it ties into your throat chakra, because solar plexus deals with, I don't want to say ego, but like it can tie into one's ego. Not that ego's bad, so I don't want to say that. I don't want to say ego, like demonize ego. Ego is a part of us for a reason. So, and making decisions with our ego intact and balanced is how we can give from a glass half full versus a glass half empty. And shame is a big factor in solar plexus imbalances or blockages. So shame can easily develop from any instance of expressing your truth and then being punished, or not actually being punished but feeling punished, because I know there's instances that other people go through where you told the truth and you felt like you got in trouble, or just looked like you got punished, and you may have asked God, why is this happening to me, because it just felt like being punished, whether you were actually punished. But in your initial trauma that you can remember, you were actually punished for telling your truth. So, and that shame ties back into lack of self-worth and feeling unworthy. And with your Chiron being in Taurus, it is important to practice ways to illuminate your self-worth, to elevate your self-worth, and instill that strongly in your life on a day-to-day basis. And healing is a everyday process. So don't practice any more self-deprecating talk about, oh, I'm not good enough because I should be past this or anything already, or jumping ahead in your healing process, because healing is daily. I'm still healing. Everyone that's actually on their healing journey has daily work to do towards their ascension, their goal, of feeling like a whole person, or their best version, their best self. At least how I envision my best self being, aka perfect, like people think. But I know, and I heard the cliche phrases of, nobody's perfect, and perfect perfection lying in the imperfections of us being human. And that perfection is opinionated, and realistically speaking, it will have to involve you still being human, which means we're still going to have our days that are not the greatest or don't feel the greatest, or moments that trigger us. And then we have to use our healing practices to get through it. So for your root chakra, some advice I can give is okay. So, well, first let me touch on the 1111. You keep seeing 1111, and from my numerology knowledge, numerology knowledge, 1111 is a sign of wake up, like pay attention. So it seems like your spirit team, the souls that are here around you, always around you, you're in a sense of guardian angels, like the beings beyond this physical realm we live in without physical bodies. They could have been grandparents or great grandparents or people you may have met physically in this lifetime or you haven't met physically in this lifetime, and they are energetically tied to you and your soul, and they are like in a sense of guardian angels. They are here to protect you on your journey along with God. If you believe in God, um these energetical beings or quote unquote bodies that are here to guide you, communicate with you like through um numbers, numerology, number synchronicities, so on and so forth. um so 1111 is them telling you to wake up, pay attention. So maybe you're doing something particular, maybe you're thinking about expressing and confiding into your husband, and then you see 1111, or maybe you're on your way to work and you're reminding yourself, I hate this job, I don't want to be here, and then you see, oh, it's 1111, or you're on your lunch break and oh, you catch 1111. It's not a coincidence. I don't believe in coincidences. It's them communicating with you to wake up, pay attention to probably what you are here to actually do. And in instances where you're probably at home and thinking about confiding in someone, it's saying, wake up, yes, go confide, like do what you're feeling. So, and pay attention to what you're feeling, because everything happens for a reason. So they're trying to guide you. And a lot of times with lots of people, they're doing that through number synchronicities. And so that, and you're saying that you see 222 a lot. 222 is spirit, translates to spirit is communicating to me to pay attention to balance. So balance, that just coincides with everything that I was speaking on about your relationship and balances, mainly with yourself, and how that reflects all your relationships and with the world, with the universe, with everything. So yes, and also your North Node in Libra. Like balance is a very important factor in your life. And for most of your life, it seems like you have been giving too much, that your cup has just been depleting. And now it's time to flip the switch and turn the table and fill up your cup and practice the balance, the yin, yang. And now give to yourself, and get in the habit of giving to yourself, so that now everything can be more even, more balanced. So when you go to spend family time with everyone, you can be happy, you can give your full self, because you're rejuvenated by all the self-love and new self-worthiness levels that you've unlocked and achieved, because you've been practicing appreciating yourself. And you should appreciate yourself, because you are amazing. You've been, these trials and tribulations will now become your testimony, because you're doing the thing and you're taking your life, living your life the way that God intended, and the way that is most healthiest for your entire family, not just your nuclear uh, home. So, advice to give towards becoming your best self, I would say for the root chakra, root chakra grounding. So I'd say whenever, instead of, your first instinct now is habitually going to your bedroom, closing off, like closing the door. Okay, quiet spaces are cool. It does not have to be in your bedroom. Let's try to get out the bed. If it's warm outside, go outside. I mean, you're from Chicago, so I'm sure you're used to the cold, but either way, bundle up. If need be, go outside, go for a walk, or just sit outside. And you can take your shoes off to fully get into the grounding. And you can repeat the chant long if you want. Or I would say, starting off, you can just write down, I suggest journaling. Well, I suggest writing down I am statements, I am affirmations that combat any self-doubt thoughts and insecurities that you have, especially towards reasons that have your mind has tricked yourself into not expressing your truth and not confiding into others and closing your heart off to an extent, especially to your husband, to be able to feel safe enough to confide in him and be completely open and honest. So, I am statements like, well, basic ones that everyone can always use is I am safe, I am secure, I am stable, I am financially stable, I am worthy, and then you can even throw in I feel worthy, because gearing specifically to you and these traumas, that will also help as well. But root chakra, I am, is usually the statement used specifically for that. And doing it outside, earth, grounding yourself to the earth, talk to the trees, hug a tree. People call me a neo hippie. I have only hugged a couple trees in my life, but I should do that more often. It don't hurt. Just don't run at them with full speed until like a branch that's sticking out, because that happened to me. It was in the dark, so I ain't see. But anyway, it's even best to ask the tree for permission first. But go ahead and hug the trees. Give your energy to the trees, because that's feeding the trees. That's carbon dioxide, and that's given to the earth. Shoot. So it'll never hurt. Sacral chakra. For sacral chakra, I suggest you can hold your womb while you, after writing down, or even just off the dome, just repeat to yourself. And the phrase, the I phrase for sacral is I feel. So I feel worthy comes into play there. In holding your womb, and while saying it to yourself, record it in voice notes, whatever audio recording app that you have. If you have an Apple or Android, I feel safe. I feel love all around me abundantly. I feel at ease when I speak my truth, and things like that, that tie, like I said, ties into this communication, this uncomfortable mental state that you go into when you think of communicating openly. So that, along with taking more baths, even yoni steams, if you know, or ever done yoni steaming, putting specific feminine herbs into your baths or steams, all the above, because water. Sacral chakra is a water chakra. Your womb is, water, amniotic fluid, water, liquid. So water energy, or showers if you don't have a bath, or you prefer the shower and bath, all that. Water. So, and drinking more teas, like raspberry leaf. I want to say yarrow. But I know like fenugreek, um, milk thistle. It's a bunch of herbs that are like have this feminine energy, Damiana, like that'll also roses, just these herbs that have this high vibrational divine feminine energy of like feeling good, feeling lovely, and like you're cherishing yourself, adorning yourself. So anything like honey, add honey in your bath. I like to use honey in my bath. Sometimes I rub it on my sacral chakra, and like sugar scrubs and just being soft and whatever gets you in the I'm a bed, I'm a goddess type energy. Like do that when working on the sacral specifically. And I suggest even singing them. Singing those affirmations will help. If I don't know if you like to sing and you're a singer or not, and even if you feel like you tone deaf, go ahead and sing anyway. If you're in alone, like most of these instances would be best in the setting of you being alone, you doing it in your car or doing it outside. If the kids ain't home, nobody ain't home, whatever. I don't care if the neighbors around. But go ahead, communicate. So like singing is a way to communicate, and that'll work on that throat chakra at the same time when them being tied specifically to your sacral chakra affirmations. And for the solar plexus, that'll help you, no matter where you are, having the courage to sing. That's gonna help with your willpower chakra, your boldness and courageousness. Like that's what solar plexus is all about. Unapologetically expressing creatively. So I suggest that for solar plexus. And the I statement would be I create, I will. So like you can, specifically for solar plexus, you can do mirror work. So looking at yourself and saying it. If that's what you want to do to warm up before you go outside belting to the neighbors, like then just do it in the mirror first, and get into it and be open and honest with yourself and say whatever comes to mind. Listen to express yourself. So and I would say with sacral and solar work to listen to all the songs that make you feel good, and that like if you like Pharrell Williams Happy, I know that song's overplayed, but if that's going to make you getting like any upbeat music that's got a good message behind it, go ahead and do it. Like as I like to sing music, I can't live without music, but that's just me. So I would say that, and that always helps. Like I used to sing in school, I used to perform talent shows, stuff like that, like senior solos. So like I was always on stage, and it was predominantly to sing. So like that's, to me, that correlates a lot to solar plexus. So that, and then moving on to the heart chakra. All of these are going to help your heart, but specifically, I love statements. It's for ties into heart chakra. So I love myself. I love communicating my truth. I love how I feel when I speak up for myself. I love being able to communicate honestly and be vulnerable to my loving husband. Stuff along the lines of that. Um, and holding your heart chakra well while you do it. And then while going back to solar plexus, doing it outside also, because being in the sun while you're doing it, it's going to help. Like the sun radiating off of you, you radiating back, magnetized to the earth and the sun, like get into it. So I always love feeling the sun on me. So whether I'm doing specifically solar plexus work or not, but yes. So now back to the heart. So holding your heart, rubbing your heart, even like EFT tapping on your heart while you say your I love affirmations and listening to them. I would suggest doing that and doing things that you just love to do. Whatever it is that you love to do will help with your heart chakra and your sacral chakra, whatever creative arts that you do, because sacral chakra is about creativity. So have fun with it. And the fun, that ties into Leo energy, sun energy, solar plexus energy of just having a good time, high energy youth, your inner child, like tap into that. What is it you like to do when you were really, really young before your initial trauma? I'd say get into that. Your North Node being in Libra, I say try some yoga out because that's all about balance. So and do that in the sun, okay? And for the throat chakra, yes, singing, as I mentioned already, that's definitely good. All my life, like singing has kept my throat chakra strong. My throat chakra and my lungs strong. So I suggest singing. You ain't gotta make up your own songs, but sing the songs that make you feel good. That's gonna make that heart chakra pump. Like, and along with just communicating your truth, because that's the biggest factor in your throat chakras issues right now and your throat being swole right now. It was a start confiding in me, and like I said, I'm so proud of you, and it is such a great and strong thing that you've done tonight. And I appreciate you being comfortable enough to express your truth, and also entrusting me to advise you and help you through your healing journey. It's an honor for me. So yes, just express. Do listen to express yourself, because you need to get into it. And I would say off the dome right now, another song to just throw in is that Marvin Gaye? Is it Marvin Gaye? It's a man's world, because it wouldn't mean nothing without a woman or a girl. So, go ahead and listen to that. Throw that on the playlist too. And yes. Yes. So I say do that and check back in with me, and whenever you feel like you're getting a little nervous, when you ready to take the leap and confide, if you need a little booster, a little boosting, what, a pep talk, I'm here, because that's part of my North Node, and part of my Chiron placements is to be an intuitive hype man and be the cheerleader and help people learn how to express themselves unapologetically. First, through self-forgiveness. But yes, so I'll be here whenever you need it. And so is spirit and your spirit team, your spirit guides, your angels. So you could talk to them first and then talk to me. If they say, go ahead and talk to me. And if I'm not available, then go talk to them and then go talk it out with your husband. Because he's there for you. He loves you. And he's only upset because he wants to be someone that you feel safe enough to confide in. And so that's going to be the easiest solution for you. So peace, prosperity, and blessings and provisions. Much love, heart chakra love, energy. Yeah, so when you need me, call me, beat me if you want to reach me like impossible. Have a good night. Bye.